Oh, hey, I'm MC Junior. I'm gonna reboot it because I need reassurance I'm not the only one, eh? Ugh. What can you say about this show that hasn't already been said?
This show has the laziest animation, the humor is that of what babies find funny, if even that, and the characters are just insane, unintelligent, and actually so unfunny it physically hurts me through the TV screen. It is a horrible piece of human garbage that I don't know who thought would be a good idea, and should not be seen by any sane human being.
But the real reason this show sucks isn't its rampant stupidity, although that doesn't help. It's the fact that it's ruining the name of the original show. That being...
Teen Titans, created by Glenn Murakami in 2003 and run into 2006, was a show about 5 teen superheroes coming together in a team to stop crime and save the day from all sorts of evil. I remember being in love with this show as a kid and everything about it.
After seeing the abomination that is Teen Titans Go, it got me thinking about the original, and it was actually as good as I remembered it to be. I really took action when I saw this DVD at my local store. The first 6 episodes of the original Teen Titans. And we're going to watch them here today and see if the original show holds up or if TTG is actually closer to the original than I remember it to be.
Also, I was just going to do 3 episodes, but these first 6 episodes are very important in their own way, as they set up characters and introduce important story elements and plot elements that will carry through the rest of the series. Now this is going to be more of a review, so I'm going to be taking the big points overall from each episode that highlight why the show is so friggin' amazing and compare it to the shit show that is Go. So if you want to see what those plot elements and story elements and characters are, or if you want a more laid-back view of the show, and if you're a true Teen Titans fan, and want to see more of an in-depth look at the 6 episodes from yours truly, check out my overview here. But without further ado, let's get into this. We start with our first episode, Divide and Conquer.
Now, one of the great things about this show is its mixed style of animation. Western animation and anime animation. It helps the show stand out on its own, and give it its own unique spin that help it stand out from all the other shows at the time.
Just take a look at some of this opening and see for yourself. Now, if we look at the animation of Go, we can see some truly lazy work here. Now, before you throw a lynch mob at me, let me just get this clear in saying, I friggin' love Flash. It is truly the right-hand man of any beginning animation student, and can let them do some amazing things. But that's the problem. This is Cartoon Network, a $1 million company, who has had so many different styles of animation over the years. That they chose this animation is just truly painful and lazy. Now, before I get the brony army on my ass, I'll say this. There is indeed a difference between MLP's animation and Go's animation, and that is just in one word. Backgrounds. If you watch MLP, the backgrounds are pretty bombastic for a Flash show. They have large-scale locations that are all hand-drawn, and that is pretty impressive for a Flash show. Which is why, one of the worst things I think Go does is when they do this shit. Yeah, that's right. You just saw that. A big-budget cartoon from Cartoon Network just found Google Images to make their backdrop. Unfriggin' believable. That's something my poor-ass show would do. But, in all honesty, the amazing hand-drawn animation from Teen Titans shows us the deep love and care that they have for the show, because it takes time. It takes a lot longer than friggin' Flash animation, and it trumps this embarrassing animation choice of Go. Also, side note, some of the animation is just really horrendous to look at. I mean, God, it's disturbing. Here is another example of the amazing range of animation style. Here, here, and here. I just love the variety. Also, a big part about this episode is Robert learning to take responsibility as a leader, and learning to put trust in his friends. Because he is actually very protective of his team, his friends, and his family, as they are all one and the same. This makes him a very layered character, and when we see him go too far to try and solve something or keep his family safe, We know that in his mind, in his heart, he's trying to do the best for the team and for the world. But he does think he needs to do everything himself as a team leader, because he has all this responsibility on his shoulders. Feels that he needs to do everything. This is a very complex character build that has lots of time put into it. How does Go fuck it up? Oh, I know. By making him a complete, egotistical, know-it-all, bossy jackass to his team and everyone else. Which is honestly a slap to the face of his character. In fact, the show does a lot of slapping in the faces and neutering of everyone's complex characters, and turns them into one-note morons. But, nevertheless. We start our second episode, Sisters, at the fair where Robin and Starfire are watching the fireworks. Here comes some of the first moments where we can see a very genuine and sweet romance and companionship between the two of them. The progression of this is done so well throughout the show, it's kind of amazing. Why this is done so well is because they have a very genuine and compassionate care for the well-being of each other, whether it be their emotional state, their safety state, or anything. If one of them is upset, the other one will be there to cheer them up. If the other one is in trouble, they're the first one there to help, because they have a romantic connection to each other. We can see that in the way they talk, in the way they hang out, in the way they just interact with each other, and just how genuine and sweet they are to each other. Robin, being the leader, needs to show a clear, collected head, and doesn't want to get too attached to anybody. He thinks that will throw him off. But Starfire, being new, has drawn a connection to him. Robin does have an attachment to her, but is suppressing it because he needs to stay focused, he thinks. He needs to feel like he has to be a leader the whole time. Where Starfire is always trying to bring him out of that. Show him that he doesn't have to be a leader all the time. Which is really one of the big points in the final film of the show. But we'll get to that another time. But this is why this romance is so good, because we see that they do genuinely and compassionately care for one another. We can actually deduce why they have a romance, why they are in love. And it trumps a lot of romances we see nowadays. Like...
I think our lives are about to be destroyed anyway. I truly...
Now let's look at the romance in Go. It's a joke. No, I'm serious. The whole romance of Robin and Starfire, the one that was slowly and strategically built over 5 seasons and a movie in the original, has been reduced to a fucking joke. It's written as a joke. It's only brought up as a joke. It is honestly despicably awful that the writers would do this to such a wonderful romance. Nevertheless. The next episode is Final Exam. Now, seeing how this episode introduces 3 new villains to our roster, I'll be taking a look at the amazing villains of the show overall. This show had some pretty amazing villains, ranging from diabolical and menacing to funny and entertaining. Each Titan had their own villainous counterpart in this series that they had to overcome, and when they did overcome them and defeat them in battle, they were not only defeating one of the big bads on the show, but they were also defeating any personal struggles they were facing. This gave us some real emotional moments as they were able to solve each other's problems and solve their own individual struggles. The biggest and baddest villain in the show was Slade. He was the most badass, manipulative, and diabolical villain ever. And in all honesty, if there's any reason to watch Teen Titans, it's him.
Now, let's see how they represented Slade in Go.
Our greatest villain has returned to settle the score.
Are we ready for this?
I don't know, but we have no choice. Titans, go!
Oh, no. Moving on.
The 4th episode, Forces of Nature, is one of my favorite episodes in Season 1. Now, if any character out of the cast got a bigger fuck you and your 3 dimensions from the Go crew, it would be poor friggin' Beast Boy. This episode highlights that Beast Boy, even though he is a jokester and a goof-off, is an intelligent and layered hero in the show. He has a serious side to him, which is a counterbalance to his silliness. What does the piece of shit animation garbage of Go do to his character? Make him a complete dumbass who is a waste of space. Just the simple fact that they did this to such a complex character like Beast Boy, and completely ignored all of his trials and tribulations throughout the original series, shows they had no original understanding of him, or understood him at all, which is kind of fucking impossible if they had watched the show to begin with. But they definitely had, right? Nevertheless, the next episode is Some of His Parts.
I'm just gonna come right out and say it. This is probably the most thought-provoking episodes in the entire series, and probably in general. It talks about if we were to take our minds, ourselves, a copy of ourselves, and put it into a robot, a machine, would we still be ourselves? And, would we still have humanity? Would we still be considered humanity? And in this episode, there's a scene where they're going to take memories from Cyborg and put them into a new robotic body. Would that be him? Would that be a copy of him? Because his old body would be gone. It would be destroyed. And this would be the new him. Would it be the same Cyborg as before? If we took our own minds, would we still be the same if this were to happen to us? Would we be able to call ourselves human anymore? Could we be still considered in the vein of humanity? Very existential stuff that this TV show for kids is asking. That is why this show is so great, because it takes risks. Unlike...
Also, side note about Cyborg, Go turned Cyborg into just another Beast Boy. Honestly, they have no differing character traits. They're just both lazy, annoying, useless jackasses. Nevertheless, we now come to our sixth and final episode of this review, and my personal favorite, Nevermore. Now, in this episode, it shows very well the biggest difference between Go and the original, and that is the tone. Teen Titans would have the kahoonies to go all the way with anything, mostly into dark department, and anything connected to Raven's storylines would usually steer that way. Go, on the other hand, has one friggin' note. Light, happy, fun bullshit. Something you might not notice until you put the shows back to back is the unbelievably horrendous color palette of Go. I mean, seriously, look at these two scenes from Go and the original, of them fighting in the streets.
The wolf is no threat when it's blind as a bat.
Ah! Don't come any closer.
Unbelievable. Go's version looks like a fucking rainbow got sun bleached brighter and then threw up on the goddamn screen. The main colors of Go seem to be white, pink, blue, and green, whereas Teen Titans went all over the place and had a wide variety of color palette. But, nevertheless, back to the tone. Teen Titans could have some very serious and intense and chilling scenes, like this one from Nevermore.
No! No! My suit! What do you... No, stop! You win! I surrender!
What's the matter? Afraid of the dark?
I surrender! No!
Jesus.
It's okay. You're going to be all right.
It was... no... so dark. Make it stop. Make it stop.
Go would never do anything like that. And for you Go fans, which if you're watching this, I hope you're learning the error of your ways, saying that Teen Titans as the original has too serious and no humor in it. Listen here for a second, you morons. If there was no humor in Teen Titans, then why would there be an episode dedicated to the Titans dressing up like Robin when he goes away? Or an episode where Cyborg gets hacked and he thinks everything around him is food and tries to eat them? And why is there jokes constantly being landed and hitting straight on in the show? Teen Titans could find a balance between serious and humor, unlike Go. Now, they've screwed up Robin's, BB's, Cyborg's, and Starfire's characters. But, surely they're going to take at least a little bit of care in mine and the personal fan favorites Raven, right?
Aw, hey, Sparkleface. Wanna race Butterbean through the gingerbread jungle? Woohoo!
Oh my god, you actually achieved it! You actually did it! You fucked up Bay Raven's character, and you fucked up every other character's complex story arcs! How could you guys do this? It's like you guys didn't even watch the show before making it.
We've never even seen the old show.
Cartoon Network? You heard these guys? No! No!
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. 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 Hell no. 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 I refuse. No.
You incompetent fucking assholes! How dare you come along and think you can be associated with Teen Titans and the amazingness of that show, and let alone come along and make this piece of shit go? You dicks! Sorry. Don't worry. They're not gonna hurt us anymore. But aside from all of that,
Can you see why Teen Titans was so friggin' amazing, and why Teen Titans Go is just
absolutely dreadful.
Now, for some final misguided attempt to defend Go, is that they'll probably say, it's for kids.
yeah? So what?
Just because it's for kids doesn't mean you can't try and make it something memorable and something amazing. And, worst of all, is that the age range of kids that they're referring to is actually this. Ages 3 to 5. So they would have no idea about the original Teen Titans. So, why did Cartoon Network use Teen Titans? Why didn't they just create a show that did everything that Teen Titans Go does and leave the amazingness of the original Teen Titans out of it and create a new IP? Oh yeah, brand recognition. Teen Titans Go spits in the face of a show that brought so much to the table and showed that cartoons could be serious and have complex stories and characters and still entertaining and engaging for youngins and for adults. But there is one thing that drives this point home of why Teen Titans was so bold and different, because the CEO of Cartoon Network at the time told the crew, take risks and do something unexpected and new. And they took that and they did their damnedest to make a great show for all generations.
So in conclusion, this show was not only great in its day, but it still holds up as one of the best animations and TV shows to date. Up there in the animation department with Gravity Falls, Batman the Animated Series, and frickin' Samurai Jack.
This show was truly a marvel, even though it's DC, and it was taken away from us too soon, as there was only a small bit left to tell, but it was probably the most important things, like the conclusion of Terra's story, and the conclusion of Slade's story. So, if you haven't seen Teen Titans the original, go out and see it. You will not regret it. And if you have seen Teen Titans, or it's been a while, give it a rewatch. You'll be glad you did.
I'm the NCJR, and when the world is losing all control... Hey?
Titans! Teen Titans!